Surprise and happy Halloween. Welcome to another Watch It Bro special feature. As always, I'm Tristan,
And I am Marshall.
and today we are going to be looking at Ernest Scared Stupid,
This is one
which
I watched a lot growing up.
I think this was the only Ernest movie we actually owned.
Mhm.
Fun fact.
I don't know. I know we watched Ernest Goes to Camp a lot too, but
I think we always rented that one.
that could be.
But yeah, I remember we owned this one.
Yes. Or at least somebody we knew owned it.
No, Ernest Scared Stupid I owned.
Okay.
I had gotten it for I think my birthday one
Mm,
year.
that makes sense.
Yeah, because we were big Ernest fans. So this movie was a childhood favorite of ours,
Yes.
as well as many other Ernest titles. A couple other Ernest titles.
I know I've seen all the Ernest movies.
I don't think I have.
Pretty sure we watched this one the most.
Well, we owned this one,
Well, yeah.
so this one, and then um, Ernest Goes to Camp
Yeah.
that we rented. Other than that, I don't think we watched many of the other ones because
Well, there's 6 others.
there's more than that.
No. It had 8 movies.
Did he do 8 total?
Yeah.
Okay. I know when he died, he had 3 more he was working on and hoping to do.
Yeah. They died pretty young too, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, he was 50.
Yep.
Spoiler. That counts as a
Spoiler.
spoiler.
No. Well, let's get out of the bummer well.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, should we get into the specs of the movie and get going?
Yeah, yeah.
All
Take it
right.
away.
So, yep, Ernest Scared Stupid is the movie we're watching today. It was directed by John Cherry, who directed many of the Ernest movies. That's what he was known for. The story was by John Cherry and Coke Sams. It is starring the late and great Jim Varney, who, if you aren't familiar with Ernest, you might know him as the voice of Slinky in Toy Stories 1 and 2. And he's had several bit parts and throughout his career.
Yes, he played Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies movie as well.
Yes, he did. Um, and like we mentioned earlier, he did unfortunately pass away of lung cancer in the year 2000 at the age of 50. Fun fact, we'll go with that. He never allowed himself to be photographed or filmed with a cigarette in the Ernest costume.
Okay.
It was very, yeah, he did not want, because Ernest was such a popular character for children, he never wanted any kids to be able to see Ernest with a cigarette because he felt it was not a good influence.
Mm, okay.
And then once he found out he had lung cancer, he quit smoking cold turkey. That's less
That is
of
a
a
fun
fun
fact.
fact. This movie was released October 11th, 1991. So
Okay.
33 years ago, if that doesn't make you feel old.
Doesn't make me feel happy.
And it is the fourth movie in the Ernest installments.
Let's see. Probably the original Ernest movie. Then Ernest Goes to Jail. Ernest Saves Christmas. Ernest Scared Stupid. Ernest Goes to
Uh,
Camp.
Ernest Rides Again is the third one.
Ah,
So actually, I think I have it written down right here.
there's also Slam Dunk Ernest and Ernest Goes to Africa. I don't know if that's the correct order.
Okay, so the next one, Ernest Rides Again, was after this one. Let's see. The first one is Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloom Beam. Oh, that's his first appearance. Never mind.
I was gonna say that is not an Ernest movie.
The first one is Ernest Goes to Camp. Then Ernest Saves Christmas. Ernest Goes to Camp 87. Ernest Saves Christmas 88. 1990, Ernest Goes to Jail. So you did have that pretty well on.
Okay.
91, Ernest Scared Stupid. 93, Ernest Rides Again. 94, Ernest Goes to School. 95, Slam Dunk Ernest. 97, Ernest Goes to Africa. 98, Ernest in the Army. Those last 3 were direct to video, which means the first 6,
5, 6.
6 were in theaters. So there were 9 total Ernest movies. In 1990, there were 7 Ernest films reported to be in development, including Ernest the Bellhop and Ernest in Paradise, but were scrapped. Another one was Ernest and the Voodoo Curse, where it was an Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein kind of throwback. It was all like on a Hawaiian island
That's
and
interesting.
mixed with a Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of theme. Weird. Okay, so yeah, there was Ernest was big throughout the late 80s and the 90s.
Yes, there's all your Ernest knowledge.
Yeah, fun little Ernest facts for you. So, but we're going to be looking at Ernest Scared Stupid today.
Because it's Halloween.
It is Halloween, so you're welcome.
Did did this movie scare you as a kid?
Yes, it did.
And
A little bit. I don't
yeah,
think it scared me a lot.
there was parts of it that unnerved me a little bit in it too, but there um,
It
there
didn't
was
scare me now.
there was oh no, I was gonna say there was speculation that the movie did not do as well in theaters because it was so scary and not just more um,
More
child
funny.
fun. Yeah, which
Like, yeah, I remember it scaring me a little bit before I watched it, and then after while watching it, I was like, oh yeah, this used to scare me. I remember when that scared me. So I was telling Rachel about it a little bit. I think that about the parts that used to scare me as a kid.
and she's like, "Why are you making me watch Ernest?"
Rachel loves Ernest.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we've already watched. We own 3 Ernest movies now
Oh, okay.
that she bought on sale because she wanted to watch them. We're probably gonna collect them all at some point. Ernest Scared Stupid, you can't find it for less than like $30 if you want a hard copy. It is like one of the most popular Ernest movies now.
That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, yeah, and we definitely want to get the kids into Ernest because we like wholesome comedy, and that's what this is. What's the face?
Nothing. It's just smiling.
Anyway, let's get into the spec. Not, we already did the specs. Let's get into the actual movie now.
We did the specs. We did a whole bunch on Ernest.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad we have a lot to talk about with this.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so it opens with the Touchstone logo, which I have not seen in a movie for a long time, which is why I bring it up because I'm watching it. It does a little like Touchstone thing that in the early '90s, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then we get bloody words for the intro credits,
Yes.
and then it cuts to a scary old house and a close up of Ernest's face, making weird faces.
Yes. Yes. This intro is really fun.
It is. I was actually surprised by it because it was unfamiliar to me,
It
which goes to show how long it's been since I've seen this movie.
yeah. Once it started up and things started going, I'm like, oh, it just all started flooding back. It's like I kind of remembered it, but as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, I didn't have so much of that. Well, I guess I did. It wasn't like it didn't like hit me like, oh, I remember that. It was just kind of like it was a little familiar
Yeah.
as scenes happen, but I was also a lot younger. Well, 4 years younger than you.
Yeah.
But anyway, this intro scene, like early 90s movies, it does its opening credits in the beginning, and we get a fantastic back and forth from clips of old black and white monster movies and Ernest being Ernest.
Yes. And to give those old black and white movies their due,
Thank you.
we have clips from Nosferatu from 1922, White Zombie 1932, Phantom from Space 1953, The Brain from Planet Eros 1957, The Screaming Skull and A Missile to the Moon both from 1958, The Hideous Sun Demon, The Giant Gila Monster, The Killer Shrews, The Battle Beyond the Sun both from 1959, and The Little Shop of Horrors from 1960.
Fantastic. I am so glad you wrote those down. I did not, but I assumed you would. I don't know
It
why I
was
knew you would, but I think
there was
Marshall will get it.
a lot of little clips in there that I recognize from not just this, from other things. Some specifically the movies, um, like Nosferatu and The brain from Planet Arrows. I've seen both of those movies.
Really?
Um, yes, so it's a good juxtaposition of the clips versus Ernest being scary faced,
Yeah, it was a good balance.
and the song was fun.
Yes, it was. The whole thing was just fun. And then the credits wind down, and we get a little girl screaming and running through the woods, and a little caption that says, Briarville, Missouri, long ago.
Yeah, ambiguously long ago, but not too long ago.
No, but if it's that kind of comedy fits in with um with the Ernest movies.
Right. Right.
There's and yeah, I mean I totally forgotten about what kind of comedy Ernest was until watching this, and I think I appreciate it more as an adult than I did.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to that at the end. Let's get through the movie first. So yes, we go to a POV of something chasing a girl through the woods, and
Yes.
it corners her at a tree, and a net gets thrown over it, and the townsfolk have captured this thing. They they apparently used this poor girl as bait.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it seems like. It's like, were they just on the hunt for it and it went out there, or did they use her as bait? I'm guessing they used her as bait.
Yeah, but they capture this thing and they're dragging it. All the townsfolk with their pitchforks and their torches, and we get Jim Varney as Phineas Worrell,
Yes.
the grandfather of Ernest, or the
Yep. Ernest P. Worrell,
Ernest P. Yes, I
the
just
great
did
great
the
grandfather.
yeah, I just did the math in my head, and I was like, oh, something's don't. Anyway, so the ambiguous long ago. Anywho,
Yeah.
so they capture the troll, and they say they're going to bury him in this hole. They're going to plant an oak tree on top of him, and that the roots will be his cage forever.
Yeah. Don't
And
disturb.
the troll is like, an ancestor, no, a descendant of you will release me from this. And
Yeah, the
then
troll kind of puts his own little curse on the thing.
right, and then we cut to present day, and there is a girl who is apparently giving a report to her class, and she says the troll put a curse on the Worrell bloodline to where the descendants will get dumber and dumber and dumber, and we cut to Ernest, who
Making a dumb
is
face.
making a dumb face, and he is fiddling with one of his inventions, and he is a sanitation specialist.
Yes. And I'm not sure exactly what this invention he made does besides dump mops in trash cans.
It looks like it's designed to clean, but I don't see how.
Right. Like, is it something he's supposed to put on the front of his garbage truck to kind of clean the street? But that seems weird.
Or I thought it might have been something to like any salvageable garbage. It's to clean it off.
That could be too.
Uh,
Regardless, this machine has like 6 garbage cans, about 12 mops going into each garbage can, a little spray bottle dumping soap in, and it's just this weird little contraption.
It's fun. It's funny. I remember thinking it was really cool as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember thinking it was great, and
And-
looking at it now, it's like I have no idea what that does, but it looks kind of cool.
yeah, until it breaks,
Yeah,
which of course it breaks because it's Ernest.
starts
And
throwing
then,
mops at him.
yep, and then he gets lifted up and thrown and dumped into the the garbage truck.
This my favorite bit in this entire movie takes place in this garbage truck.
It is good. Since it's your favorite bit, you want to take us through it?
So he's in there panicking. He's yelling at his dog Rimshot to let him out to do what he can. And the dog activates the crushing mechanism on it. So he grabs a muffler like you see in not a muffler, but in Star Wars, and presses up between the wall and the crushing device, and it kind of collapses on itself. And he's looking around, and he sees the gear that's kind of pulling it together, and grabs a doll out of the
Yes.
big pile of garbage, and while he's panicking, he takes the time to have this conversation with the doll, who says, "No, no, no, don't put my head in that gearbox. I have a family doll factory." And Ernest ends up shoving the doll's head in the gearbox. And Doll's like, "You're not gonna get away with this, Ernest. I know where you live." Which just made me laugh so much.
Yeah. And I wonder how much they just let him go and ad lib.
Probably a good chunk.
I think so.
I
Because,
mean, a lot of I mean, with especially with his characters and stuff, when he gets in, different outfits and some bits and places, just let him go with what he's doing.
yeah. Yeah, probably. So, anywho, nothing's working.
Oh, yeah,
And
the doll head
he's,
doesn't work.
yeah. Then he gets like a shovel, and the shovel breaks. And it's not looking good for Ernest. And then he pulls the battery out of his little remote control thingy, and that shuts everything down. And then you see, while he's holding it, the battery, electricity from the battery arcs over into the remote control and starts everything back up again.
Yes, and this movie came after Ernest Goes to Jail, where he became electrical, so he's got electrical powers
Oh, that's right, because all the movies tie into each other.
to an extent. Yes, the Ernest verse.
Right, but like anything that happens to him, like becoming electrical,
Yeah.
remains a trait of Ernest, which I kind of like. So yeah, I think I have seen a few more of the Ernest movies. So we cut to two kids walking down the street.
Two
I will
kids from the
name
school.
from the school. Yes, one is the girl who gave the report. We'll call her Elizabeth because that's her name.
And let's call the boy Chad. I didn't like his name.
You didn't like Kenny?
No, Kenny's fine. This Kenny survived.
Fair, but we'll
Spoilers.
we'll we'll get to names in a little bit because they're. I did have fun with one of the kids' names.
Yeah.
So they hear Ernest and they run over, and Kenny is able to stop everything and let Ernest out.
Yes, and Ernest has been crushed into a cube of garbage.
Yes. And Elizabeth comments on how great Kenny is for saving Ernest,
Yeah.
and he does a impressive John Wayne impression.
Yes, yes.
Maybe it's not an impressive impression of John Wayne. I was just surprised at a John Wayne impression, though I shouldn't have been because it was 1991.
True. You got a lot of the 91.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of yeah, yeah. There was a. It was definitely a 1991 film, but we cut to the sheriff and the mayor having a talk about the Hackmore place, which they don't really give us a lot on. They just say Ernest is supposed to get over to the Hackmore place and clean it up. The mayor wants to fire Ernest. The sheriff doesn't because he likes Ernest, I guess.
Well, at least he doesn't dislike Ernest.
Yeah,
He seems pretty indifferent to him.
right. He seems more like he doesn't want to go through the hassle of finding a new garbage truck driver.
True, because this is a tiny town that has one garbage truck man.
Yeah. So it's more of like, hey, that's just
Garbage truck man.
yeah. Sanitation specialist is what Ernest
Yes.
calls himself. So we cut again to Ernest driving the kids in the garbage truck and commenting how he's not allowed to do that and he could get in trouble. Right on cue, he gets pulled over,
Yep. Because
and
he's
the
not
sheriff,
going to the Hackmore place.
right, going the wrong direction, as the mayor pointed out in the previous scene that I failed to mention. And we get the sheriff scolding Ernest for not going to the Hackmore place. And then he catches the kids in the cab, and we learn that the sheriff is Kenny's dad.
Yes. And he does not like them riding around with Ernest in the garbage truck.
I don't, yeah, he doesn't particularly seem to like him hanging around with Ernest anyway.
True.
But yeah, so we cut to the sheriff gets the kids in the car, tells Ernest to get going to the Hackmore place, and we cut to the Hackmore place. And I don't see what the problem is. It's on the far side of town. She's a collector.
Right. It's not like it's trash. It's all her art stuff that she's put together. She's a welder, which we'll find out in a second.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's awesome, and it ain't hurting nobody.
exactly. She's got like an old. It looks like an old plantation house. It's got the big old columns and everything, and
Yeah,
um, she's got the front door all decked out with iron bars, and it's a cool little art garden.
yeah, it is. I think it's great, and it's like she's tucked back into the woods too. Like
Yeah.
it's not like she's hurting anybody's curb appeal. And they're sending him Ernest over there to clean it up. What's he gonna do? Just like get onto her property and start throwing away her stuff? She's alive and living there.
Right. Right. It's not like
Like,
it's.
you can't just do that,
Yeah.
as far as I know. I
I
mean, you have to
mean, it
go through.
becomes a public nuisance, but
They
even
made
then,
no they made no allusions to like having warned her many times to clean it up.
yeah.
And like even if that were the case, you wouldn't just send a garbage man over there. You would send police.
Right. Right. There'd be a whole thing.
Right. It wouldn't just be like, all right, Ernest, go over there and start throwing stuff away. I mean, not to poke holes in the plot of this Ernest film, but like,
I mean, as long as we're poking holes after this, they don't talk about getting stuff off her lawn anymore.
there's plenty of holes to be poked in this plot. This is not a well thought out film. This is very much a movie's got a movie, and and a fun kid's tale.
Yeah.
So Ernest is at the Hackmore place, and Mrs. Hackmore comes out, and it
Yes.
is played by the amazing Eartha Kitt.
Yes. One of the best cat
Who, go ahead with that.
because it played Catwoman in Batman with Adam West,
Yes,
as well as Yzma from Emperor's New Groove.
yes, I mean, and we heard it right away.
Yeah.
I told Rachel, I'm like, that's Eartha Kitt, and she's like, who? And I go, like the original Catwoman. Oh, also Emperor's New Groove, right? I go, oh yeah. Well, then I mentioned Emperor's New Groove, and she's like, yeah, I heard that right away.
Not the original Catwoman, but my favorite,
Who was the original Catwoman?
Julie Newmar.
That's right. I forgot about Julie Newmar. Do we want to take a moment to talk about Halle Berry as Catwoman?
No.
Nobody ever does.
Sorry, Halle Berry.
I had to throw it out there. And yeah, so Mrs. Hackmore, or they call her Old Lady Hackmore, which isn't very nice.
No, it's not. But she's elderly in this movie and a lady, and her name's Hackmore. So
Yeah, and she's kind of a loner on the far side of town who is a
scares
hermit.
kids and Ernest.
Yeah, and well, she's actually scared of Ernest.
Yes.
She talks about the curse of the Worrells, and then she screams, and that cuts into Elizabeth screaming in a some kind of haunted house.
Yeah.
And
The kids have made their own little haunted house because Halloween
which
is right around the corner.
sure, and it's not a bad haunted house for what it is.
No, no, it's not.
I mean, if you think they're like what 10, 12?
Something like that. Yeah.
So the fact that they put that together, and then yeah, so she's screaming, and she's like, "How scary is that scream?" And her friends are like, "Oh yeah, it's super scary." And she starts talking about what the haunted house is gonna have, what she's gonna do with smushed grapes on the floor as eyeballs and kinds of kitty stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And Kenny's there with her, and so is their friend Johnny.
Joey,
Joey.
which I don't think they named right away.
No, I don't think they did either.
He
That's why
just
I called him
shows up.
Johnny.
He just shows up and he's there, and so they don't name him until he gets got. Spoilers. And so
Joey gets
throughout,
got.
so throughout my note taking, he is glasses kid for a while, and then for some reason I'm like, he looks like an Ernie, so I guess that his name was gonna be Ernie. So then I started calling him Ernie.
You can't have an Ernie in an Ernest movie.
There. I didn't even put that together, but yeah.
And that sounds like a name for Ernest's kid.
He looked like an Ernie to me.
No, I can see that.
So so they're in the haunted house and we see it start shaking. And
Yeah.
oh no, it's the Murdochs. And we
Yeah.
cut to outside and there's a kid with just a fantastic mullet.
And another one with a bowl cut.
And another one with a bowl cut, and they are shaking this haunted house that they seem to have just built in a random field somewhere.
Convenience of filming. Instead of somebody's yard where kids are running around, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Right. I guess like a fort.
Yeah.
Like you would build a fort somewhere, I guess. But anyway. So Elizabeth, Kenny, and Joey all run off.
Well, they first they panic briefly and then say, "Quick, out the back end of this thing." And then they panic some more and run out the front.
Well, it's a haunted house that's like 3 cardboard boxes long.
3
R-
cardboard boxes and then a wooded box on the front.
Right. I don't think there's a back exit.
Well, you gotta get out the back.
Oh yeah, I go. Okay, so yeah, it is a haunted house, so they do walk through it. Anyway, they panic and run out the front,
Yeah.
and then they just keep going.
And then the Murdochs rip the front off this thing, and then it
They
collapses.
they tear the whole thing down,
Yeah.
and that's like that's a bit much for bullying in the movie, isn't it?
You'd think so, but these kids are awful.
They really are. Then we cut to I didn't have a good segue, so I'm just going with it. So then we cut to Kenny talking to Ernest about the whole with Murdoch situation. Is that what he's talking
Yeah,
about? I can't.
yeah, it's like they ran away from the Murdochs, and they said, "You guys are stupid," and then it's, Kenny with Ernest. Like, the other 2 took off.
Right. And Ernest is jacking up his car to work on it, and
Yeah,
he
yeah, that doesn't that's not a car jack, is it?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not a good one.
Yeah,
I mean, it might be a car jack, like if you need to change a tire, just popping it up real quick. But
yeah.
like if you're gonna work under it, you need like more of a jack with jack stands and whatnot.
Right, because
So,
he's
but
just laying into this jack and it's going.
it's going up, and he's telling Kenny that they need to refer back to the Ottoman Empire for some reason. I mean, that's his go-to story.
This this story makes me think of the scene from Billy Madison where he's giving the speech, and after it, the guy's like, "Everybody in the audience is stupider for having heard that." It was incoherent rambling and made no sense. May God have mercy on your soul.
A simple wrong would have done just fine. But no, he was so offended by the story
Yes.
that he had to reprimand him for telling it.
Um,
Oh yeah, Ernest is telling the story about the Ottoman Empire, and it I couldn't follow it because he went through 7 different characters, including we got a Walter Brennan impression,
yeah.
who was Pa Danby in Support Your Local Sheriff, if you don't know.
Ah,
That's who he was.
one
I
of
think that's
his,
the only
what was that?
I was like, that's pretty much the only thing I really know Walter Brennan from.
Okay. We got one of his most famous characters, Auntie uh, Nelda, the the lady with the neck brace on,
Yes, we do.
um, and he just cycles through fighter pilots, um,
Australian guy, Crocodile Dundee,
yeah, lumberjack, the salon lady,
a uh, Ottoman soldier.
yeah, 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 and he's not even talking about the Ottoman Empire. Well, he's talking about a fight against the Ottomans, as the Ottoman Empire is supposed to be like the Murdochs against the smaller country.
Botswana.
Yes, Botswana. That's what it was.
Yes, it was. because he was a Botswanian lumberjack.
Yes, it says there's no. He mentions trees like 6 times in this thing. And I mean that's the takeaway.
Is get the high ground.
Yeah, get the high ground. But from all his rambling and impersonations and just
It all boils
off
down to
off
you
the
need the
wall
high ground.
insanity. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But then the jack breaks
Oh yeah, yeah. The jack gives out and could have
and
killed
launches
Kenny.
easily. but but it hits the mayor's window in his car. And did
Yes,
you
Mayor
catch?
Murdoch.
Yes, Mayor Murdoch. I was gonna let that be a reveal later
Oh, sorry,
because I
spoilers. Cut that out.
because they don't reveal it until much later.
True.
So yeah, it goes in and breaks the mayor's window. Which did you notice that the window broke long before the jack got there?
I did not.
So it cuts to the car and you see all the glass like crack, and then the
Yeah.
jack comes through and breaks everything.
Movie magic.
Yeah, they kind of just left it. So it cuts to Ernest and the kids traipsing through the woods looking for a tree to build a tree house in.
Yep.
And he comes up with a couple that he's like, "Oh, this would be good," and like one of them just falls. One he's knocking on one, and he goes, "Ah, too much bass," and it's like
Yeah.
a hollow tree, and he knocks on it, slaps another. He goes, "This one looks good," and it falls over, and he goes, "Oh, too many termites."
Yeah.
And he sees a spooky looking area, and he goes, "Well, that looks promising."
Yeah. That looks fun.
So he just walks into the spooky area, and the kids are like, "I'm not going in there. You go first."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're
And Kenny ends up going in last, right? He's like everybody in before before me.
right. Not particularly brave, that Kenny.
Not at this moment.
No. So they're walking through the spooky area now, and they come across a fantastic tree to build a treehouse in.
Yeah, yeah. There's like they like cross the threshold into this smoky, not smoky, but foggy
Foggy.
little glen that the foliage changes completely once you cross
Right.
this threshold.
Yeah, and it's a very scary area. A
Yeah.
scaria.
But this tree's massive. It's got a nice base for a platform to be put on.
Yeah, I mean it is a good treehouse tree. Kind of, because you're not getting up very high, which we'll
True,
see later. But
but it's still high.
right. So they all agree that that's the one, that is the thing. And they get to work on it.
Yeah, and Ernest brings a bunch of stuff he's collected over the years, apparently.
Yeah. And then he puts a nail in with a hammer, and we get the first tease of the troll.
Yes, under the roots.
And during that time, we cut to Mrs. Hackmore, who you can see her. She kind of perks up and she goes, "Something's going on," so she can sense that something's happening.
Yes.
And then it goes back to the kids building the treehouse, which, wow,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
In a montage, which I can only assume takes the kids about an hour and a half.
yeah, it's not long.
No.
They get this treehouse together, and it is master carpentry.
Yeah, they it's got nice floorboards laid down for the walking path and the floor, rails, pulley systems. It's got it all.
Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely. So yeah, if you want to build a treehouse like that, all you got to do take about an hour and a half in a montage. You can
Yep.
have your own treehouse like that.
They also built some classic 90s kids weapons.
We'll get there, cause first, Miss Hackmore shows up. She finds the treehouse, and she's like, "Are you kidding me? Of all the trees here, you picked that one."
Yeah.
And Ernest is like, well, I didn't know it was on your property," and so he follows Mrs. Hackmore out,
Yeah,
hoping to
she's like, "Oh gosh, what have you done?" Ah, and runs away.
right, and he thinks it's over the fact that they built it on her land without her permission.
Right.
And so they leave, and then the Murdochs show up
Right.
and
Right.
start throwing rocks.
Right. Well, the Murdochs show up and say, "I think they went this way," as if they were following them from the first thing.
Right. Yeah. A long. I mean, that was a while ago because a lot of things happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, but they just come in. I think they went this way. It's like, look, it's a treehouse. Let's throw rocks at it.
Well, because they see the kids
Yeah,
and they start hucking some good-sized rocks.
yeah. Like I said, these kids are jerks.
Right, and so that's when we find out that they also made weaponry to launch to fight back, and they start throwing cans of cat food,
Dog food. There's a picture of
uh,
the dog on the thing, and
dog
Ernest has a
food.
dog. They
Fair
they
enough.
they they, they, they don't throw the cans. They throw the
So you had that thought too, when they're because they load the cans up and that somehow opens the cans and launches the dog food,
yeah, the cans
and I'm
come out like shells.
and the cans come out of the shells, and I'm going, it would be much more effective if they launched a can and all.
It would be, but they're not trying to kill these kids.
The other kids are throwing rocks
Yeah, so we fight rocks with dog food
and pizzas.
and pizzas, which what's her name? Elizabeth
Yeah.
gets completely wrong.
Does she?
Yeah, she's like, okay, this first up is cheese and pepperoni. It's clearly a combo.
Oh, I didn't pay that much attention.
Like, oh, well, she specifically said cheese and pepperoni. So you look at the pizza, like, that's not a cheese and pepperoni. I don't think there's any pepperoni on that.
It's burnt real good.
It's got to be able to fly.
Toasted. And where did they get burnt pizza?
Ernest,
He just had it laying around like, oh, this would work good.
they brought it because they made the pizza launcher.
A lot of convenience in this scene. They just seem to conveniently have what they need. Again, we're looking too far into it. It's an Ernest movie.
Yes.
This is the definition of movie got a movie.
But yeah, the bullies run away with some vague threats of getting them later.
Yes.
Actually, I think he says, this isn't over. And then they leave.
Yeah, that's his threat. Is this is not over? And then Ernest comes back, and they tell the tale of their victory. And they asked what old lady Hackmore was talking to him about, and he's like, "Oh, she was just making up some. She was telling me the tale of the troll, and he can only be awakened on the night before Halloween." And Elizabeth chimes in, "Like tonight," and he goes, "When a Worrell," and she goes, "Like you," places his hand on a tree and said, like so, and says, "Yea, I call thee forth, Trantor." What are the chances of that happening?
Yeah, why would she tell him what to say? I don't want you to summon the troll. What would I have to do to summon the troll? Well, if you were going to summon the troll, you'd do this. Okay,
Yeah, you have to put your
that's stupid. I won't do that.
if he doesn't know how to summon the troll, he doesn't summon the troll. But no, let's tell him exactly what he needs to do.
Yes, and then he'll go back to the kids and say, "This is what you're supposed to do to summon the troll," but that's pooey.
Yeah. So he summons the troll, and the kids feel it, and the kids run off.
Yeah,
They get scared
the
and run off.
lightning wind just kind of gets darker because as soon as the kids are gone, it's dark in that treehouse.
Right. And Ernest is by himself, and he's feeling it too.
He's
And then
got Rimshot the dog with him.
yeah, yeah. But then Trantor shows up, coming after Ernest.
Yes.
And he's panicking, and he kicks over the garbage can, which spills the milk, and that
I think it's a
hints.
little cooler, isn't it?
I thought it was like a garbage can.
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. The milk spills, and Trantor runs off, and it teases that milk might be a weakness.
Right, right. They show us that, the audience, right away.
Right.
I don't know if that was as blatant if you're watching it for the first time and don't know about the effects of milk on the troll.
I think it was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
They made it pretty obvious.
Because there was a thing full of milk that spilled over.
Yeah. And there was no milk prior to that.
Yeah, it's not like they had a milk gun or anything to attack the bullies with.
Right. And it's not like they were drinking milk. There just happened to be open cartons of milk in a garbage can
Yeah.
that weren't drinking. So we cut back to the kids, Kenny and um,
Joey.
Kenny and Elizabeth are with Joey, and they just. I was reading my notes and it says "glasses boy." Because up until this point, I don't think we have his name.
I feel like they did say his name, but I don't remember enough.
I didn't recall hearing it. So yes, he was Glasses Boy in my notes.
Heck, I thought his name was
A-
Johnny. So
And so they basically say, "Oh, I gotta go home. Okay, bye," and they ditch him.
yeah, yeah. She's like, "Oh, I should get home. It's late. My mom's gonna kill me." You're like, "Yeah, I should go too. See ya, Joey." And they all leave
Yeah,
instead of going
which
back to town together.
right. Apparently, Joey lives the other way. But the fact of the matter is like, oh, my mom's already gonna be mad because I'm already late, and it's like, if the troll didn't come, you guys would still be sitting in the treehouse.
True. I
So
think what
Joey's
really,
clearly
I think what really happened is they all got spooked, and now they're making excuses to go home.
sure, but they just ditched this kid.
True, true. They ditched Joey, who has a hard time of it getting home.
Yes, and he's very scared, and then he slips and falls into a very shallow little ditch
Yes, with a little bit of mud at the bottom.
with yeah, a little bit of water too.
Yeah,
This poor kid having to, and you know what? Props to this kid because he fully committed to the panic that
he
he was
did.
instructed to feel. I
He did. He
believe,
was
I fully believed that this kid thought he was gonna die.
yes, yes. Looking at it, it didn't look like he was gonna die, but he believed he was going to.
Yes. And maybe it was like it wasn't so much of the fact that the ditch was gonna kill him. He felt there was something after him and now
Right,
he could not get away.
right. It's that same fear as a kid when you turn off the lights in the basement, you start running upstairs so something doesn't get you.
Yeah, as a kid. I don't still run down my hallway when I shut the living room lights off to make sure to get to my bedroom before not something gets me. At 38 years old.
I think everybody our age has that same kind of click, run
Yep, I think it
as the
is. I
dark
think it's
as the darkness chases you.
yep, I think it is a 80s and 90s kids thing. So
Well, it's because of all the unsolved mysteries we watched.
mine is because of my older brother.
He sounds like a jerk.
Oh yeah, he wasn't very nice. But so we get Joey panicking, and then we hear Ernest say, "I got you, buddy," and he grabs Ernest's hand off camera, and he looks up, and it's not Ernest; it is the troll. So the troll can mimic voices of people he
Yes,
comes in contact with.
one of the many troll powers,
Yes, and he turns Joey into a little wooden doll.
like Pinocchio.
Not like Pinocchio. Pinocchio was a puppet.
But
Not
yes,
like
he has a little wooden Joey doll.
Yes, he does. I wonder if the kids got to keep the dolls of themselves after this movie was wrapped.
Hopefully, that would be a nice
That would
little
have
thing
been
to have.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we cut to Ernest at the sheriff's house telling about the troll, how he'd seen him, and
Oh yeah, he's panicking. He's banging on the door. It's like
yep,
sheriff, sheriff, sheriff.
yep. And so we have a nice little,
I saw a
what do you
troll.
call
And he's like, yeah, it was weird out there.
it? Yeah, and Kenny comes out to the defense. I mean, he doesn't really help much, but
Right, right. It's like, yeah, it was weird. Something was going on. I don't know if it was a troll, but
yeah.
it was creepy.
Anyway, Ernest gets sent along his way.
Yeah, yeah. The sheriff's like, it's late. Go home. Stop hanging out with my kid.
Pretty much, yeah. So then we cut to Ernest back at old lady Hackmore's place, and he tells her that he let the troll out.
Right. It's like, I know we talked like an hour ago when you told me not to say these words at this tree. I did it.
Yeah, I did the specific thing that you told me not to do.
She's like, you've doomed us all.
Yeah, pretty much. So then we cut to the troll taking Ernie, not Ernie, Joey. I felt at this point I needed to name the kid.
That's fair.
Took Joey, and we see he's got little pods growing,
Yeah, they look like little Brussels sprouts hanging off the tree.
which will come up again later. But he puts his little little Joey doll in a slot in the tree.
It it so like the trunk of the tree has opened up a little bit to create a crevice inside, and inside the crevice there's 5 little slots, and in one of those slots he sticks the Joey doll.
Right, but that actually happens before we cut to Ernest telling old lady Hackmore that
Oh, did it?
did he let the troll out? Yeah, it did. It's in my notes here. Anyway, so Miss Hackmore pulls out a book about the troll. Apparently, there's a whole book on the legend of the troll now.
Yeah, she spent her whole life learning about monsters, trolls, and other things. She's like, man, if it was vampires or werewolves, I could deal with that. A little bit of garlic, maybe a silver bullet,
Yeah,
but trolls,
very flippant and funny.
yeah, yeah,
And so she goes through the book. We find out uh, that they have to stop the troll before he gets 5 kids. He has to get 5 kids before midnight on
on
Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah,
Otherwise, it will release his troll army, and Ernest is the great redneck hope,
yes,
a title which he embraces fully.
he does. Now she says that he's the only one that can do this because he's the seventh son of a seventh son.
Yes,
Does that mean he has 6 brothers that all left
yes,
the town?
yes. That is what that implies.
Okay.
The seventh son of the, yeah. I don't know. I didn't follow that very well. Some
A
things
lot
in
of
this
times
movie you gotta just accept and not think about.
they just say things sometimes like, "That makes sense, that sounds cool."
Yeah, it sounds ominous or something.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Tommy and Bobby record
Oh,
the Tulips. They're recording their commercial,
yes.
and they are apparently in a lot of Ernest movies.
Yes.
You don't sound sure,
I I think they both are.
and they're from the original Hey Vern TV show, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, that's they are.
Because Ernest had a air freshener in his car that was of them. Yeah, they're recording their commercial for. They seem like scam artists more than.
Yeah, okay, yes. So, Bobby was in Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Goes to School, Ernest Scared Stupid, Ernest Saves Christmas, Hey Vern, It's Ernest,
Okay,
and,
if I recall right, he's still alive and he's 92 now.
Bobby?
Yeah,
No, Bobby passed away in '93.
in 1993 or at 93,
Oh, never mind. He's 92. He was born in 1932.
and he's still alive.
Yes.
That's what I said.
Yep. Bill Biker. No. Anyway.
So we cut to Ernest and Kenny. Nope, not Ernest. Elizabeth and Kenny,
Yeah.
and they're talking how
Uh,
what?
oh, I was gonna say his brother Tom, right?
Yeah, no, Bobby is the old guy.
Yeah, right, right. But the other one, Tom, right? Tom and Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
Looks like Tom was only in this one.
Okay. So Bobby is the regular, and
Yes.
Tom is just is in this one. Okay. So anyway, we cut to Emily and Kenny. It's the next day, and they're saying this is where I got the name. They said Joey never made it home last night. So that's when I finally figured out his name was Joey.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh well, he was probably already at the treehouse.
he never made it home last night. He's probably just stayed at the treehouse. Like we all
Yeah,
left together.
yeah. I don't see why he trudged back through the woods in the
Like
middle of.
I must defend the treehouse over the night.
Yeah.
That's a stupid idea.
Yeah. So they go back to the tree.
Yep.
And then we cut back to Tommy and Bobby, and they are just selling Ernest any kind of troll merchandise they can make up and scam him with.
Yeah, but a lot of it is troll branded stuff too. So they clearly had troll stuff.
Did they?
They had a troll album of love songs.
Okay. Yeah. But again, is it one of those things that like didn't exist prior to the necessity of needing it, and we just kind of accept it? Like
Uh,
the magic thing, like Ernest being able to quick change into all those different characters.
True. That could be. Or since the town has the history with the troll, they carry some troll hunting supplies on hand just in case people are.
Like the Pacific Northwest and Sasquatch stuff,
Yeah,
right? But the difference is Bigfoot's real.
true.
Anyway, his total comes to like $1,700, and
Yeah.
apparently he pays. Apparently he has the money because
He gut the stuff, so
yeah,
I don't know whether he uses the city card because he's a garbage man or
very well could use his yeah his
put it on the
city.
city. Put it on.
I'm saving the city. It goes, yeah. So we cut back to the tree,
Yes.
and Emily and Kenny are like, "Oh, it looks different. This hole wasn't here before. Hey, there's Brussels sprouts growing here. Hey, that looks like Joey."
Yeah, they see the little doll and like that looks like Joey. This is creepy.
And we cut back to Ernest, and he is all suited up for troll hunting.
Yes. He is ready to
And
go.
yes, and then the last scene, the kids run off because they can hear the troll. They don't
Yeah.
know it's the troll, but they hear something and it spooks them and they run off. But now we're back to the kids. They are at the Hackman's place, and the troll has followed them. And then we see a random kid skating on a skateboard, and the troll grabs him and takes him off camera.
Yeah, yeah, that was Trill's like, we gotta get these kids. Ooh, there's one.
Yeah,
It just
I mean, he's an opportunist. There's a kid come out, he's just like,
yeah, it's like I'll get one of these ones later then.
I mean, he only needs 5.
Right, and he's not really fussed about which kids he gets. Just gets a kid.
Yeah, I mean, the who the kids are isn't the point. He just needs kids.
Right.
And then,
Although
yeah,
it does
so
feel like he makes it personal at one point.
it gets personal. Yeah, I think I have that in my notes. But so the kids tell Ernest about the tree and about Joey, and Miss Hackmore tells the kids about the pods and the troll legend, and everything about the army and whatnot. So she gives the kids more details, and then we cut back to Ernest at a dumpster. He's setting a trap for the troll. He's getting
Yeah,
the troll trap set up,
like
and
it's like a roach motel. He calls it a troll motel.
yes, and he's sitting there, and then the kids run off, and the lid drops and smashes his fingers, and Ernest breaks the fourth wall,
Yeah, it
which
looks at
I love this bit. I think he does it in every movie where something happens and he gets really hurt, and he looks at it, and then he looks directly to the camera, and then he looks back at the injury and looks directly to camera like 2 or 3 times, and then
yeah,
he breaks.
yeah.
And I remember doing that as a kid. Like we
Oh
pretend
yeah,
to get hurt, not
yeah.
where like you actually get hurt and do that because you wouldn't. But like, yeah, I remember that being really funny as a kid, and so we used to, or I used to, do that joke a lot. Then it's nighttime,
Halloween night.
Halloween night, and Kenny and Emily are walking together, and they're kind of having a moment.
Isn't her name Elizabeth?
Yep. What did I say?
Emily.
So Elizabeth and Kenny are walking, and they're kind of having a moment. Names are hard.
They are.
Especially when I don't write them down and I just use an initial because I'm trying to write fast and not pause the movie every 2 seconds. And then I don't realize that Ernest and Elizabeth both start with E. So then I have to deduce which one's which.
You got this.
So Elizabeth and Kenny are walking and she's talking about how she's scared, I guess, what
Yeah.
they're going to do about Joey and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, don't worry, we'll get it. And so she kisses him on the cheek and runs off.
To get ready for Halloween.
Yeah, because apparently there's going to be a big thing at the school that they're all going to go to, a big Halloween party at the school.
Yeah. Well, Joey's not going.
Ouch. So we cut to the troll pods growing.
Yeah.
And that's it. It shows them growing.
Yep.
And then it cuts back to Kenny and Ernest talking, and Kenny's like, I'm gonna go tell my dad and he'll meet us by the tree and we'll get this thing going. And so he runs off by himself. There's something chasing him, following him, and turns out it's the Murdochs dressed up as trolls. They
Yeah.
jump out of a boat and tackle him to the ground. And I'm pretty sure if his mom didn't show up, they were gonna pound him into the ground.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they would have pounded him.
And yeah, but Kenny's mom shows up. The Murdochs run off, and Kenny's mom is like, "What's going on here?" And doing a typical mom thing. And Kenny's like, "I gotta go help Ernest with the troll."
Not
And
those
she's
kids were gonna beat me up.
right. It, that gets pretty glossed over. He doesn't seem concerned about that because there's a troll on the loose.
Right.
And his mom's like, "You're not going anywhere, Kenny. You're gonna come into this house and get ready for the Halloween stuff." And he just hops on his bike and rides away. But he like looks back at her.
It's like, how much trouble am I gonna be in?
Yeah, you can tell he's working it out, but he's made his decision and he rides off, and
Right,
she
for the
makes zero effort to follow him or stop him. And then it cuts to kids trick or treating, and just to kind of show the troll around
yeah,
observing, and then it shows the troll running through a yard,
yes.
and it's clearly Emily's house. And then we go inside Emily's house, and she is in her room on her bed. She is scared, and she is like, "Joey never came home last night," and
Why aren't more people worried about this?
nobody is concerned at the fact that Joey is. No one can account for where Joey is, and no one has seen him in 24 hours. And the mom was like, "Oh, he's probably already at the school." And it's like,
Why do people think Joey's places he's not, or he's just way ahead of us?
but the fact of like, Joey never came home last night. That means that Joey's parents have told people that didn't come home last night,
Yes,
and we haven't seen Joey in a while. And they're like, "Oh, he probably stayed at the treehouse. Oh, he's probably already at the school. You probably just missed him." And they're like, "It's been a
is,
day."
is that what the sheriff told the family? He's probably at the party already. Like, what?
We'll get there. And so she's just feeling she got the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, she asked her mom to look under her bed too.
She does. And her mom is not nice.
No, no, she's not.
No, she's not nice at all.
No, your friend disappeared, but suck it up.
Yeah, stop with this attitude. And I'm just like, okay, mom. And
Yeah,
Rachel commented on the hideous outfit the mom is wearing,
it wasn't a
which
great outfit.
she was not wrong. It is not good. Anyway, this part scared me when I was a kid.
I remember this startling me too. Yeah,
Yeah, because Elizabeth works up the courage to look under the bed. Turns out it's just her bear Snuffy,
yeah,
and so we get this nice it's like a moment of relief. And
yes.
she
It puts you
cuddles
at
her,
puts you at ease. Like, oh, she just found her bear.
yeah, and then so she snuggles her bear and rolls over and finds the troll laying next to her,
Yes, right there in bed. It's like,
which
what's up?
yeah, I think he smiles at her and then turns her into wood.
Yeah,
Which I gotta give it to him though. That was a great scene.
yeah. It's good scare. You
With
almost
the,
think maybe the troll wasn't going up to Emily's house at the beginning of it because it gives you that respite. Like, okay, just a bear,
yep,
nothing under. That's good.
it gives you a misdirect. That it doesn't really jump scare you.
No, he's just there.
He's just there, right? And Elizabeth doesn't get got.
Yep. We now have 3 kids. Gone.
That's right. He only needs 2. And I don't know what this means, but Kenny's on his way.
I think it's just Kenny
Riding
riding
his
his
bike.
bike. Yep.
They did a lot of cutscenes like that where it's just like it
Traveling.
yeah, where they just to remind you that someone's going somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then we got back to Ernest.
Had the time just a little bit. I mean, it's an hour and 32-minute movie.
Right. Yeah, they could have made it shorter. But it's good. I mean they didn't go overboard with it. So we cut back to Ernest and he is talking on his CB with Tom and Bob.
Yes. They are helping him in his troll endeavor.
Yep. And the troll is watching Ernest. I
Probably
think
for a price.
oh yeah, he's definitely paying for it. But then we cut to Ernest again, and he is buying snacks in the convenience store or the grocery store. I'm not sure which.
I think it's the grocery store.
Might be the town's grocery store because it's a small town.
Yeah.
And the troll is in there, and he is behind Ernest, and Jimmy sees him, and we get a pretty good bit here.
Jimmy. Is that the name of the clerk from My Cousin Vinny that got killed?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it is. This Jimmy does not get killed.
No. Not in this movie.
No. But so Jimmy sees the troll and he's freaking out, and Ernest is like, "Oh, charades! Yeah, I love charades." And so he's doing the panic miming thing, and Ernest is just not getting there.
No. No, he's not.
And so Jimmy pulls out his rifle or shotgun. which freaks out Ernest, and Ernest throws his hands up and subsequently throws the chocolate milk that he had,
Yep.
which lands near the troll and scares him off.
Right. Another hint
Jim,
that milk does something for the troll.
right? They want to remind us so we're not surprised later. Spoilers. And then Jimmy passes out, and then we cut to Kenny again riding his bike.
Yep.
Kenny runs into a kid named Greg. We've never seen Greg before, but now and I don't think we ever see Greg again.
I think Greg gets got.
And so we hear Emily's voice coming from and I don't know what those things are called.
It was a like a large pipe that you would see for sewers that get put in.
Yeah, or drainage.
Yeah.
Big enough to like travel through.
Right. You put it in for like a covert or something.
Yeah. And so we hear Emily's voice coming from there. Her name's Elizabeth.
Yes, it is. Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Don't know why I keep calling her Emily. She should have been named Emily in the movie. I think that would have been better.
Yeah. Elizabeth.
Anyway, we hear her voice coming from there. Kenny goes to check it out. And it turns out it was just a distraction from the troll who now has Greg.
Yes. It was a
And,
distraction from the troll so he could get Greg.
yep. So he turns Greg into wood, takes him, and then starts chasing Kenny. I don't know if he puts Greg in his pocket or something.
Yeah, he's like, "Okay, one down. You're last. I needed you to see that I can get your friends."
Right, because that's number 4.
Yeah. Yeah, so
And
it's
so all he needs
Joey,
is,
Elizabeth, skateboard kid, Greg,
yep, this poor
and
skateboard kid doesn't even have a name.
he doesn't.
And like this part I really liked, actually.
Yeah.
So Kenny's running from the troll. The troll is chasing him
Yes.
and taunting him in Elizabeth's voice.
Yes.
Like, that is fantastic writing right there.
Uh-huh. It's the
It is
mind games
great.
on top of it. I'm
It,
gonna get you, and I'm gonna get you sounding like your friend.
yeah, I mean that was a good choice they made in that movie doing that.
Yeah. Seeing how much longer we have.
We got to move it along. This is a long one.
It's gonna be longer than the movie.
We're already longer than the movie. So anyway, we cut to the sheriff's office, and the parents are actually starting to notice something's amiss, and Joey's parents are there, and they're like, "We still haven't seen our kid." And the sheriff's like, "Oh, he's probably already at the school."
He's not a good sheriff.
No, no, he's not, because these parents are like, "We haven't seen him in over a day."
To be fair, it's the '90s, and everybody came playing fast and loose with "Where's your kid?"
Not that much.
True.
I mean, we are just coming out of the '80s where they actually had to have an announcement at 10 o'clock at night that says it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? All
Yeah.
right, them. But still, these parents have noticed their kid is missing. They have reported it to several people now, and the sheriff is like, he's just kids being kids.
Yeah, he's probably at the party. I'll deal with this tomorrow.
But
I'm
then they're like,
drunk.
I don't think so. It's a kid movie.
Yeah. I'm projecting.
Yeah. But like Elizabeth's parents are like, "Hey, she just ran off. Oh, she probably went to the school." And they're like, "No, she was terrified to even leave her bedroom.
She's probably at the school. It's fine.
Oh, she probably sucked it up and went." Like, no. Like he's like, "Hey, I took this job. I wouldn't expect to actually have to do work."
Right. The mom's like, I know I gave her a hard time and told her to suck it up, but I don't think she really did. She's kind of a wuss.
Yeah, yeah. Let's not spend too much time poking holes in this movie. Oh, yeah. But we got Kenny running from the troll, and the troll basically catches him until the milk truck comes along.
The convenient night milk delivery.
Yeah. Don't question it, just accept it. At this
Okay.
point, it's a cartoon. It's a live action cartoon, is what Ernest is.
Yes, yes, it is.
And that works. Troll runs off. Kenny makes a break for the sheriff's department. Nope, we're back to Ernest. Well, that happens. Kenny runs off. I assume that's where he's going, is people. Cut to
Yes.
Ernest. The troll alert goes off, and we hear yelling and screaming from the troll trap. And we cut back to Kenny. He's at the sheriff's office telling about the troll. Ernest also meets at the sheriff's office, and he says he's got the troll. Finally convinces the mayor, who's there too, and the sheriff to come take a look.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, for not believing Ernest, the sheriff is definitely overreacting at this point because he's got his gun drawn, ready to shoot whatever's in there.
Right. See? Drunk.
Just really bad at his job.
Or that.
Because, like, okay, so he's got his gun drawn, so either it's Ernest screwed up or there's really a troll in there.
Right, right. Yeah, it's been, "Ernest, you're insane. There's not a troll. Stop hanging out with my kid. Your kids are fine. They're probably at the party. Ernest, you have a troll. Get the gun."
Yeah, the escalation of this character development is it's something. And so anyway, he opens up the back of the trap and whatnot, and you have two kids, the Murdoch kids, crying, saying, "Don't shoot."
They're in their troll costumes.
The troll costumes, and the sheriff thankfully puts his gun away.
And not accidentally blows a hole in one of them.
Right.
"It's coming right at me." Boom.
Mayor Murdoch is fed up. He fires Ernest, tells him to turn in the truck and bring back the keys.
Yep.
Which, if you fire someone, you take the keys from him right then and there, and then you deal with the vehicle.
Right, you don't let you don't like a distraught Ernest drive a garbage truck back to
Right.
or access to the truck.
Yeah. And if you want him to put it back, just tell him, hey, put the truck back.
It's like, "There's the mayor's house."
Yeah. Put the truck back. Give me the keys because we need to have a talk. That's how you leave it.
Yeah.
But anywho, so they fire him, whatnot, and then everyone leaves, and Ernest is having a pity party.
Yeah.
And then Rimshot comes over and cheers him up. And Ernest is like, "You're right. I've never been a quitter. I've never known when to quit. Just ask my fourth grade teacher." And I didn't remember this at all, but oh my gosh, this might have been my favorite part of the whole movie. Because they cut to the fourth grade teacher, and she's standing there looking deadpan into camera, and she goes, "You never knew when to quit." And then the kid Ernest is next to him, next to the teacher, writing, "I don't know when to quit." And then he reaches up and scratches his nails down the chalkboard, and she straight up slaps him in the back of the head.
It's a pretty good bit.
So good. It proves his point.
It does.
Oh. So then we cut to Mrs. Hackmore, and she's talking to little wooden kids.
Yes.
There's four of them there,
Yes.
so which shows how close the troll came the last time,
Yes. Yes. She is in possession of the wooden kids from
long ago,
first. Yeah, the long ago.
from the long ago time, and she's talking to him. Then we cut back to the troll's lair. Ernest shows up, and the troll is basically stalking him. And Ernest is
Yeah.
coming up with his little plan, and he's gonna take off and handle things. And he opens up the door and just nails the troll right in the face with the door.
Yeah, the troll comes running up to get him, and
Rachel and I both cracked up at that. It was so good and so well timed.
yeah, it's like, "Oh, what's gonna?" Oh, yep, yeah, the door.
Yep, the door. So yeah, he just it was
Oh,
good.
He hears the thunk, he looks around for a second, then he goes in the car or the truck.
Yep. And then so we cut to Ernest driving, and the troll suddenly slams his face on the windshield and is like blah 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 blah, and starts wiping his drool and snot all over the windshield.
Yeah.
And so Ernest starts panicking, and then the troll starts stabbing through the roof with an actual very scary looking sword that I don't know where he got it.
It's a troll weapon.
Sure. But like we see the blade come through the ceiling and we're like, oh,
Yeah. It was on
that
his
got
belt.
real fast.
Yeah.
And then we escalate from there into a full-on Ernest and Troll fight scene, and Rimshot is driving the truck.
Yeah, the troll rips the door off, the passenger or the driver's door off, and
Right.
Ernest slides the passenger seat and out the passenger window onto the roof, and the troll follows him.
Right.
And the car's
And,
just still going.
yep, and Rimshot's there steering,
Yeah, then Rimshot starts to steer the car, which
and then we
is
get a
the
which is totally
which
believable.
is amazing for a little, was that Jack Russell Terrier?
I think so. Anywho, so we get a full-on fight scene from Ernest and the Troll in the back bed of the truck.
Yep.
And then there's a rope. Ernest throws the rope, hits the Troll, knocks him back. And then
You're not gonna talk about the sheer nunchucks?
no, I was gonna just go right past the nunchucks. You want to talk about the nunchucks?
I mean, no, we're good.
Okay. Hits him with the rope and knocks him off. And he thinks it's over, and then the truck suddenly stops.
Yes.
And we get to see how strong trolls are because they're trying to drive away, and the troll is pulling the truck back effortlessly.
Yeah, yeah. He's pulling to 200 horsepower.
So he tells Rimshot to throw it in reverse. Which, yeah,
Which Rimshot does. His dog knows how to drive a car.
yeah, definitely. And knows how to shift. Anyway, so they throw it in reverse, and they run over the troll.
Yes. He's like, he should be a big greasy smear on the ground now.
And the troll is gone.
Where is he?
And then Ernest is getting ready to, or Ernest is looking for him. Ernest gets stuck in a barrel while driving off.
Yeah.
And then the troll kicks the barrel out, and he rolls down the road,
Street. Yeah.
and then gets hit by Bobby and Tommy.
Yeah. Yeah. Them and their van hit Ernest in this barrel.
And Ernest is somehow just fine from all of this.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Ernest with Mrs. Hackmore, and they're reading the book again.
And
To
she
try
has
to-
she has a comically large can opener trying to get Ernest out of this metal barrel instead of
Yes,
the welding equipment she has.
right. No, the giant can opener is the better solution. It's fantastic. I love it. Anyway, so they're looking at the book for Clint's. That's hints and clues combined into one word. And as they're looking through the book, Ernest is like, "Oh, the pages is stuck together."
Yep.
And they open it up, and they reveal that the secret to, or the weakness of the troll is M-I blank K,
Yes. And the heart of a child.
and the heart of a
Not
child,
not physical heart of a child.
which is debated later on a
Right.
little bit.
Come here, Kenny.
No.
But yes, M-I blank K.
So Mrs. Hackmore puts together that it's milk. Ernest arrives at Miak,
Yes.
which go ahead.
I was gonna say is not a real thing, but there has been speculation on what miak is.
Miak is a Bulgarian-style flavored yogurt sauce that is commonly eaten in the spring and served with pancakes.
Correct. That is the surmised of what miak would be in this Ernest verse,
Yes.
but is not actually a thing.
Why you got to do that?
Fine, cut that out. But I wrote that down too. I want to make sure we had what miak was.
Yes.
So technically, if it's a yogurt-based sauce, Ernest did get it right because it's dairy.
Right. Well, so we cut back to the troll running.
You're
And
gonna
then we
make it all work, right?
well, because it comes up again later, and we'll discuss it then.
Okay.
Then we cut to the school
This is
We're
your
in,
Street Fighter.
no, it's not. It's longer than I anticipated it being because we have so much to talk about. And
That's what
we're
happens
inside
with
this.
the movies we remember.
Yeah, I know it's great. I want to do more of these. Anyway, we're inside the school, and people are still looking for these kids that have disappeared.
But the
And
party is happening.
the right, the party's happening, and like, hey, Joey's still not here.
Where is he at, Sheriff? He said he'd be here.
Yeah,
He said Emily would be here too.
who?
Elizabeth.
We get Ernest at the school, and Ernest runs in to, I guess, warn them of the troll being there.
Yeah.
And there's a weird scene where a mother and daughter fight, and then
This scene is so bizarre.
it's so weird. It doesn't make any kind of sense
She's upset about the costume
that she picked out. The
because
mom
she
is
looks like a goober.
yes, and doesn't want to be in the costume contest. And the mom is mad that she doesn't want to be in the costume contest. And so the kid's like, I hate you, mommy. I'm not doing that. The kid is like, I hate you, and storms off, and then like suddenly stops and turns around and is like, I'm sorry, mommy, I love you. And I'm like, I've never seen a kid do that.
Her mom dressed as a pizza.
Your mom's a good sport. And then that's the epiphany that Mrs. Hackmore has. Unconditional love is the heart of a child. Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Movie's got a movie.
Not a childlike innocence or anything. No, no.
No, no.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love. Yeah, so the troll is actually in the school at this point, and he gets himself a Murdoch.
Yeah. Troll needs one more kid.
One more kid, and he shows up in the costume contest lineup next to one of the Murdoch kids, and the Murdoch kid starts making fun of him and shoves him,
Yeah.
and the troll just kind of looks at him and goes, "Arr." When the Murdoch suddenly realizes, oh no, this is not a kid in costume. This is a legit troll.
This is the troll everybody's been talking about.
And so he gets him a Murdoch.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all he needs because he's got 5 now.
Yep.
But he apparently it's personal with Ernest because Ernest is there, and so Ernest and the troll have a bit of a showdown.
I mean, of course it's personal with Ernest. His great great grandfather locked him in a tree.
Yes. And Ernest pulls out his secret weapon, his jar of miak.
Yes.
And then he gets knocked silly, and the popcorn machine falls on him.
Yeah, that looks like a death shot, but
He's fine.
you look you're looking at it. Ernest is there. The popcorn machine's on his head. You're like, oh man, that guy's dead.
Like I said, Ernest is a cartoon.
He is. Also, the soft serve ice cream machine goes off.
Yes, it does. And that causes the troll to first rimshot attacks the troll.
Yes.
And then the ice cream counts as milk. That's where I was going to get into. Like, apparently ice cream counts as milk. I don't know if because it's a milk base. Yogurt is not a milk base, it's dairy. So is it milk itself that's the thing? Is it lactose? Because it can't be lactose at all. It can't because then if miak is yogurt based,
I don't know.
like I said, we should stop poking holes in this thing. The miak doesn't work. The soft serve does.
I mean, to be fair, he never really opened up the Miak.
True.
He was
But
going to, and then the troll just knocked him.
right. But the milk truck,
True. True.
of course, I guess milk. If it's milk, that's like the strong, most potent. I guess I don't know.
Right. I mean, you're looking up at the big thing. It says milk on the side of it. Okay. Oh, that's milk. What the heck is Miak?
Yeah. Anywho, so they're all the parents are all concerned about Ernest now, and they believe him because they seen the troll, and the troll got one of the Murdoch kids.
Yeah, you believe me now, people?
Yeah.
It's like,
And
I'm
so
sure they're just at the treehouse.
yeah, right.
They are little wooden puppets.
Like, not like Pinocchio. Anyway, we get Kenny walking in, and he hands a wooden rim shot to Ernest, and now it's personal. And in that scene, Kenny figures out that the milk is the troll's weakness. So the
Yeah,
mayor
yeah,
forms a posse.
Kenny pieces it together, and the mayor forms a posse because he's not happy his son got taken.
Right. So the mayor forms a posse. The parents tell the kids to stay there. Miss Hackmore comes in and she's like, "Hey, sometimes you got to disobey rules and do what's right." And then she leaves and steals a bike
Yeah,
and takes off. She sees the bike there and she's like, "Oh," eh, and grabs it and rides off.
it's like mine now. There's a good chance the kid that owned this is Wood now.
That's the spirit. So they're all heading to the tree, and the kids get together, and the remaining Murdoch decides he's going to be friends with Kenny, and the kids form a posse too.
Yeah, Kenny's like, sorry about your brother,
Yeah, Kenny's still nice. So the
because
kid,
Kenny's a nice kid.
yes, he is. And anyway, they form a posse. They head out. The troll has 5 kids. Ernest shows up and runs him over, just straight on plows him straight into the tree,
Yeah.
and the troll escapes clearly.
Yes. Yes. He
And
tries to run him
since
over.
yeah, and since there's 5 kids now, the pods start dropping, and they're not supposed to touch the ground.
Right.
So Ernest starts catching them all, but alas, he cannot catch all the pods, and they start planting.
Yeah, there's like 40 of them that keep dropping, and he's
Yeah, he bless him, he tried, but yeah, they plop into the ground and they kind of
burrow.
burrow, and then they form into a troll army very quickly,
They do.
and they
Trolls
start.
start sprouting from the ground.
Yep, yep. And then we cut to the kids in the store. They Kenny's got it
Doing
figured out,
breaking the rules to do what's right.
breaking the rule. Yeah, exactly. And Jimmy's not having it. But so they,
No, no, he's not.
which I can't say as I blame him.
True.
However,
Five
he
kids
did,
roll into your store.
but they are talking about stopping the troll, and Jimmy did see the troll,
They're not talking about stopping the troll at all. Jimmy just sees them riding in, grabbing milk and squirt guns.
right? Which every grocery store sells squirt guns at the end of October.
That's why they're on the clearance rack at the end cap.
Ah, makes sense. For all those winter water fights.
Yeah, yeah. But they grabbed the classic super soaker, the orange, green, and yellow.
Yep.
They
Yeah,
had those there. I'm like,
they
oh, I want
did.
one of those.
Oh, those things did not work at all.
They worked better than you remember.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure. Yeah. What didn't work was that headpiece that you talked into. Fire, 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 and it'd shoot at it like by your eye. You could
Oh,
adjust it.
yes. Yeah, that was a
Never,
bad toy.
never saw one of those in the wild, but saw the commercials. Anyway, so the kids load up on milk and squirt guns. Now we're back to the troll and the troll army, and Ernest is actually holding his own.
Yes.
He's doing pretty good. The adult posse shows up. Chaos
Yeah.
ensues.
Ernest got
Uh,
himself a baseball bat, right? He's in the back
yeah,
of the back of his truck just knocking these guys out.
he is. And then the adult posse shows up, and the sheriff is disarmed very fast.
Yeah, Ernest is holding his own against this army of trolls. The rest of the adults show up and panic immediately.
And just get annihilated. So the
Yeah.
mayor comes out with a double barrel shotgun. One of the trolls grabs it and ties it into a knot.
Yep. The sheriff gets disarmed and handcuffed to his car.
Yeah. And all of the other adults are just screaming and being chased by trolls.
Yeah, there's a dude in a devil costume with a troll hanging over his tail,
Yep.
getting dragged around.
And then you got Tom and Bob, and they're sitting there filming it all.
Right, right. But Tom tells Bob to go get the camera, and they start taking pictures. He's like, "The Inquirer is going to pay so much money for this. This is our tickets out of this town."
Yep. And then we cut to Ernest, who's got what's he doing with the bowling ball?
He's planning to drop it out of the the tree onto one of the trolls just to knock it out.
Yep.
And we see a troll on a guy in a bee costume just smacking him.
Yep.
Like he's on his back. He's got a like I don't know what he has, but he's whipping him in the butt.
Like yeah, right. Like he's
Holding it
riding a horse.
right, like he's riding a horse. And Ernest's like, "I gotcha." And takes this bowling ball and chucks it over the edge of the tree house. It hits the guy in the bee outfit in the head.
And then he celebrates it.
He's like, yes.
Yes. And then we cut back to his fourth grade teacher, and she says he really didn't know when to quit. And then Kid Ernest reaches up and drags his nail down the chalkboard again, and she slaps him in the back of the head again, which I loved the callback to it.
Yeah,
It was
it's great.
fantastic.
That poor bee man.
No kidding.
But the what the what the adult posse is going through with these trolls. There's a guy getting dragged by two of them on the ground by his feet. He's like, no, no,
It's not going well for the adults.
no. It's like they had no plan. Just show up and get attacked.
I mean, they did bring two firearms. They did, so I guess that was they were gonna hold them up at gunpoint and no, stop or I'll shoot.
Yeah, they should have shot faster.
Yeah, they had no backup plan.
No, let's see what bullets do to these things.
Oh, jeez. And so now Ernest is being chased around the treehouse by a couple trolls,
Yep.
and then one of the trolls takes the bullets out of the gun and eats them, and then another troll starts smacking him in the back of the head.
It's just firing bullets out of his mouth at
Point
the
blank
at the
at the
sheriff.
from not very far away.
No, I mean it's not coming out of a barrel; it's coming out of his mouth. So the shots aren't great. It's hitting the
Fair.
car and things around him, but it's definitely more than 6 bullets that he swallowed.
Yeah, even though it was a revolver.
Right, and two of them fell out of his mouth.
So he should only have 4 shots.
Yes, but he's got like 12.
Yep, because it's funny.
Yeah,
Well, the kids show up now with milk guns and milk and squirt guns, and they come in and they're ready for action. And the parents are like, "No, get away! You don't know what you're doing."
yeah. Well, I mean, the sheriff's handcuffed to his own car, getting shot out, getting shot at by two trolls. He's like,
Yep.
"This, get out of here! This is
This is a
insane."
bad situation. And Kenny's like, "No, Dad, I know what I'm doing." And he squirts the troll with milk, and it works.
Yeah,
And
they turn to CG and vanish.
yep, and so the kids come in and they start annihilating this troll army.
Yep, the kids are cleaning house.
They are. Um, so Trantor, right,
Yep,
the main
Trantor.
troll, sees this happening, and so he runs off. The trolls catch Ernest,
Yeah.
um, and they're just wiping out trolls. They're trying to kill Ernest. Trantor's doing his ritual.
Oh,
Mrs. Hackmore, what?
I was gonna say, yeah, they got Ernest like on part of the tree house. They're gonna chop his head off with an axe.
Yeah, yeah, no, they're not messing around. But yeah, Miss Hackmore shows up and she puts the other kids back in the tree,
Yeah. She's like, I hope I'm not too late.
and then troll comes up to get her, and she screams at him and scares him off, which is
Yep.
great. We're back into the treehouse, and Ernest is doing his impressions again. Like Marshall's breaking.
Yep, yep. He's he's doing his impressions again. Did you follow this tirade he was on, or is it
No idea. I
just attack the trolls? Basically, is the gist.
basic is the gist of it. Yeah.
Like, yeah,
So
that's why we're here. That's what we're doing.
it's a pep talk.
Yeah, to Kenny.
Um, to Kenny, we cut back to Tom and Bobby. The troll takes the camera, eats the film. More clips of adults being saved by the kidlets.
Yep,
The powdered milk gag was funny.
yep. One of the kids used a carton of milk like a grenade and dropped it into a car.
Yeah, that was early on.
Yeah, that
That
was
was
I.
Kenny, and that was Kenny.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep, and then Kenny, like it seems like he's cornered and he's out of milk. Then he pulls powdered milk up, and there's a fan blowing on him, and he dumps some powdered milk over his shoulder, and it blows it into a troll's face.
yeah. Did we say that Kenny saved Ernest from getting his head chopped off?
Kenny saves Ernest from getting his head chopped off.
That's when the that's when the pep talk happens.
That's when the pep talk happens. Yes, and then we cut back to Trantor, and he's leveling up into his final form.
Yep. He's getting bigger and uglier and wigglier.
Yep. Then we cut back to Ernest and Kenny, and they're celebrating their victory. Now Ernest does his John Wayne impression. The troll army is defeated, and they're all cheering and celebrating. Mrs. Hackmore comes out, and she's like, "It's not over. What are you doing? There's still the main troll left."
Yeah.
And then Trantor reveals his final form to everybody. He corners Kenny. Kenny sprays him with milk, and milk
And then
doesn't
he
work.
says, yeah, he's like, I am power level 9,000. I am too powerful for it.
His power level's over 9,000. Milk no longer affects him, and now Kenny's kindling.
Yes. Kenny gets turned into a little wooden puppet. I keep saying puppet. They're little wooden dolls.
Wooden dolls. But yeah, everyone sees the little Kenny on the ground, and his parents are like, "Oh my gosh, no!" Well, mom is really upset. Dad's kind of like, eh. Which Rachel pointed out that the dad is not a very good actor.
And then Trantor jumps down on the little wooden Kenny.
Yes, which would have been hilarious if like the head broke off or something. Well, I don't think Kenny's coming back. Which it's personal with Kenny.
Yeah.
And now we get the troll and Ernest with a showdown.
Yes.
Ernest Ernest grabs the milk, and he's standing there facing off with the troll, and we just kind of get this like long moment, and then Mrs.
Like ready to
Hackmore,
do this.
yeah, and Mrs. Hackmore leans over to the mayor, and very quietly says, "The milk's not gonna work. It's the love. It's unconditional love. That's the secret for defeating the troll."
The mayor's like, what?
He's just like, okay, don't care, don't know what that means. Wait, and I'm like, why is she not letting Ernest in on this?
I
But
don't know.
she's got the bad habit of telling the wrong people the right information,
It's something that Ernest has to learn for himself.
and that is not written anywhere in the lore. Nowhere in the lore is that mentioned that like you can't tell him. She told him how to release the troll.
Maybe she doesn't really like Ernest.
It's not about Ernest though.
She's like, I'll take care of the troll when Ernest gets toasted.
Maybe. Anywho, Ernest figures it out.
Yeah, he has
Ernest,
an epiphany.
yeah, something like that. Anyway, but he gets there. He eventually gets there. He figures it out. He drops the milk, and he's like, "Come here, little fella." Which and makes the greatest face. And the troll charges and jumps on him, and Ernest just catches him, and they start waltzing with waltz music playing.
Yeah, he's dancing with the troll.
And
Troll's
then,
squirming. Like, what are you doing? I was able to pull your truck, but I can't break out of this hold.
yeah, apparently, it's the unconditional love that's weakening the troll.
Yes, it's the the love strength that's doing it.
So, and then they finish their dance with Ernest saying, "You're so cute," and planting a big old kiss on him.
It's, it's it was the it was the strength. It was the love strength, you know. Call me mommy Billy.
Ran into Gary. No.
Good.
No, okay. Yeah. I might have to cut out whatever noise that was. That hurt so bad. Oh, jeez. Oh, dear.
Sorry, I
Okay.
derail us.
Oh, thanks. Oh. Not again. Woo!
Uh,
And that works.
yeah.
The troll disappears, is defeated, and everyone is just excited. They're celebrating, they're happy. The kids haven't come back yet. The fact that
Yes.
they're celebrating before the kids have been returned.
Yeah, yeah, the troll's dead. Everybody's like, "Woo! We're free of the troll and our parental responsibilities."
No kidding.
I mean, I'm sure the sheriff's like that, but
Yeah. The kids all but the kids finally come back
yeah.
and everyone reunites. We don't see where it happens to Skateboard Kid.
Does
Or
he ever
or
come out of the tree?
no, neither him nor Greg come out of the tree.
Or Greg?
At least Greg got a name.
It's true. Dang, that's that's rough. Here are the kids you care about.
Yeah.
I'm sure they came out, went to their parents wherever they were. We just didn't see it.
Yep. I'm sure they did too. It's implied. And so they reunite and they all cheer and the sheriff just doesn't really seem to care.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a bad actor or
Well, he saw briefly a chance of a way out of parenthood. Oh no, my son got turned to stone. That's
would.
wood. Yeah, I don't care. He's gone. Woo!
So yeah, I don't know how to segue from that.
uh,
So we get another group of kids that walk out from the tree,
yes.
and it's the four kids from long ago.
Yeah, the four little wooden dolls that Eartha Kitt stuck in the tree.
Yes. And it's revealed that she is that that Mrs. Hackmore
Yes.
is the sister to two of them.
Yes.
And that's where the timeline doesn't make sense. Cuz if the old man was Ernest's great great grandfather, well I guess it does work out. It could work out. Cuz
Yeah.
she's supposed to
I
be
mean,
real old.
yeah, she's like their younger sister, and she's like really old, like late 90s. She's just well preserved.
Sure. And Ernest is like early 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say. Mid 30s, something like that.
Am I older than Ernest was in that movie?
Yes.
Oh,
You're as old as Ernest was in that movie. 91. If he died in 2000 when he was 50, he was 41.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So the kids come out. Mrs. Hackmore's siblings and
Two
two little
random kids.
kids.
Two
Okay,
other kids
two other kids.
who we don't know. No one knows what happened to their family.
True, true. They could still be in town. They could not be in town. Regardless,
They're Mrs. Hackmore's problem now.
there's four kids from 90 years ago that are now back.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, how did you get so old? And she goes, there is a lot we're going to have to talk about.
Yeah,
Which, yeah, because those kids got to finish growing up too. And it's a different world.
yeah,
And then Ernest is sad.
yes,
And then he makes a Wizard of Oz reference. He goes,
yep,
oh, there's nothing in that tree for me. And then Rimshot jumps out of his truck,
yep.
and they are reunited,
And
and we roll
Ernest is
credits.
happy. Yeah, that's where we roll credits, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. No, I started a new page because I thought there was going to be like a closing scene or more stuff. No, no. I have a line on a brand new page yeah. Roll credits.
Roll credits. That was Ernest Scared Stupid.
That was Ernest Scared Stupid. So, would you like to give your final thoughts on that film?
Yeah, yeah, I would. I had a lot of fun with it. When you hear Ernest or Ernest film, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with it, the type of movie you're going to be watching, and it was right down that vein. It was like you said, a live action cartoon, is slapstick. It was silly. It was goofy, but it was a lot of fun. Um, it's one of the scarier kid Halloween movies, I think,
Oh, definitely.
for specifically kids. But
And surprisingly
I
scary for an Ernest movie.
get the electric chair when he's in jail.
I don't think I've seen Ernest Goes to Jail.
That's fair. But no, I really enjoyed it. It was fun watching again. I don't think I'd seen it in over 20 years.
Oh, for sure.
which is insane to me. 'Cause we used to watch that all the time. It all came flooding back as we watched it. Eartha Kitt is having a blast in it. It seems like good time all around.
Yeah,
There's definitely movie got a movie, as we said. Um,
it is an earnest film.
so things
Yeah,
happen because they need to.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
We had a great time with this.
Yeah.
It was fun front to back. It was campy. It was a fun story. It's one of those. I mean, with any Ernest film, you you have to take the plot for what it is, and you can't go in expecting real world logic. Like we said, there's a lot of movies got a movie in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comedy, the Ernest style comedy. I think I appreciate this movie significantly more as an adult than I did as a kid
Okay. That's
because
fair.
the there is so much genius and subtlety in Jim Varney's comedy
Yeah.
that I just didn't pick up on before.
Definitely a lot of stuff I didn't pick up on as a kid. Whether jokes went over my head or things just didn't click with me because I didn't know the reference.
Right. And now, yeah, and so as an adult and knowing more, like he made a lot of references to a lot of things that were actually quite smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and the giant can opener as a kid, it just kind of like, yeah, she's doing a thing, and I was like,
It's
that's an absurdly,
hysterical.
yeah. So
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things. I mean, uh, I always growing up, you have this idea of what earnest movies are, and it a lot. I think there's a lot of reputation of stupid humor, and I would argue that. I mean, I don't know about all the last few Ernest movies, but at least Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Saves Christmas was a good one too,
yeah,
and this one, I wouldn't call it stupid comedy. I think it's very smart and well written, and they did have to play on the fact of like we need this to move along, and we need this certain things to just be accepted and be a given in order
yeah,
to make the movie work, and everything else is so good in it that it lends that forgiveness
yeah,
to just be a story to enjoy.
yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do we end these ones?
Oh, but I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, yeah. Here's another special feature.
Yeah, thank you for joining us as we took a look at Ernest Scared Stupid, one of our favorite Ernest movies growing up
And a,
as kids.
yep,
Well,
and a fantastic Halloween movie.
wonderful Halloween movie. Again, happy Halloween to everybody out there who's listening to this on Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween.
Our intro and outro music, as always, is provided by Nihilore. I don't remember the titles because they're different than our usual for these ones, but they are both Nihilore. If you want to reach out to us, you can do so. watchitbropodcast@gmail.com. On Twitter @watchitbropod. We're also on Facebook and Instagram under the same handle.
Yep.
Feels like something is missing because we're not doing the "What are we watching next" segment.
Yeah, that's the big thing. That's the difference. We don't have something planned for what's next. It's just when we get the idea to do something, we'll be back with another special feature.
Yep. But stay tuned for our regularly scheduled programming coming up. And as always, thank you for watching.